Aloha, thank you for tuning in to Taisei Discovers. My name is Taisei and I am the host. We're going to take this one back about 30 years. I've known our next guest for quite a while, and we've both been through many seasons since. Now we see each other maybe about once or twice a year if we're lucky, but we've both forged our own paths in two very different industries. And we both are living our purpose in the truest of ways. Our guest today is Justin Sabio. Justin Sabio, welcome to Taisei Discovers.
Right on, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
Automatic.
Oh, yeah.
So I would consider this, it's kind of like a talk between two homies.
Yeah.
But you also happen to be a first responder, and you've made a career in the military for one, but also the federal fire department. I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But first, how are you doing today?
Oh, good. A little excited, nervous coming here, but I actually just got off work this morning.
Okay.
At 8 o'clock. So, yeah, we do shift work, Well, my department does 48 on, 48 off. So
48 on, 48 off.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So 2 days on, 2 days off.
Yeah.
And you got off at 8 a.m.?
8 a.m. So we start 8 a.m., and then we don't get off to 8 a.m. the next 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so today, and I don't go back to Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday is my day off.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's good.
Okay, solid. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I know currently you're retired, you're a civilian, but you're still a fire captain on Kaneohe Marine Base.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. Kaneohe Marine Base has always been kind of a mystery because if you don't go on there, it's just, the big mountain and then you know what I mean? You can see it when you're coming down
H3, yeah.
H3. And
yeah.
It looks like, what's going on? I see the airstrip.
But not so much people from the west side really go down that side. You know what I mean? If you don't have DOD or military access, then you don't have no business going there anyway. So
Yeah. And there's an airstrip there,
There
right?
is, yeah.
Helicopters, planes, everything.
Everything, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
So mostly active duty Marines is over there.
Active duty Marines.
Yeah.
And Marines ain't no joke.
Yeah.
My boy Kilo is a Marine, and he told me about some of his firsthand accounts, and I was just different breed of human, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, military in general, it's a selfless thing. You go in, you're serving your country, no matter if it's something you agree with or not.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
like when I first came in, I never agree with it, but kind of had no choice.
Yeah. Well, it's a job.
Yeah, it's a job. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And a livelihood. All right. So I know you said you're a little nervous. I know by now maybe the nerves are kind of, getting a little bit better. What made you want to share your story and experience on Taisei Discovers?
Yeah, so we follow each other on Instagram, and when I first saw your podcast with the first responder series, big shout. Before I start that, just a big shout out to all the first responders out there. All the law enforcement, police, city and county EMS, HFD, all the lifeguards. Just big shout out to them. So I seen the lifeguard and the last one, the rescue swimmer, and I thought that was good. Where to bring awareness to guys in Hawaii that really doing their thing. And me being your friend for over 30 years, a good friend, I was like, hey, I like to help. It's like help. Buy local, help local, and it's the same thing for you. Your vision and goals. I wanted to support that. So why not? Why not me? And I feel honored and blessed that he asked me to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's no joke. At 40 years old, 41, huh?
Yeah, 41. I'm older than you. Dang.
I don't know. I feel like this is where life really gets interesting.
Yeah.
But you're already retired from the military, and you've held a high position of leadership.
Yeah.
As a fire captain,
chief in the Air Force.
Chief.
Yeah, I was assistant chief operations in the Air Force Reserve Fire Department.
Yeah. So that's one step above captain?
Yeah, on the military side.
The military side. Okay, well, I do want to dig into that. Let's talk about your origins within the military and what drew you to that profession.
Yeah, so my origin with the military, I don't know if you remember, but I got in trouble in high school. Remember, I got arrested, remember? Me and Sean.
For what? I forgot. Refresh me.
We assaulted somebody. Remember, somebody keyed my car.
I do remember the gear.
Yeah, so and I ended up getting arrested, So, and that was my senior high school, still 17. Then, when I got bailed out from my dad, I was like, shit, I got to go turn my life around. So my uncle, my godfather, he's a high-ranking command sergeant major in the Army. And then he's like, "Hey, boy, freaking, it's time for you to, get some discipline and freaking, change your life around." So, and then as soon as I turned 18, my senior year, he brought me into MEPS at Pearl Harbor, and I enlisted, and I was in the Army my senior year in high school, 2 days after my 18th birthday. And then I did a 4-year contract with the Army Reserves and with the 100 Battalion, the 442nd Infantry.
So, okay, so Army Infantry, you did it to turn your life around because you was getting caught up a little bit.
Yeah.
But you weren't a bad kid. You just got into a bad situation.
Yeah, I got into a bad situation, you know.
Like we all have.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of just made me turn my life around. And then that's probably one of the best decisions I made, So that was my first 4 years contract. And by the time my fourth year contract was over, I was coming back from my first tour in Iraq already, 2006. OIF3, and then when I came back, I was up for re-enlistment, but I was like, nah. But by that time, I was in the reserves. I was going to school at HCC to be a firefighter with a fire science program over there. So my brother told me about a Air Force Reserves firefighting unit, so I just I just swapped over to
Air Force
firefighting unit as a job instead of being a infantry. Yeah.
Wow. So let's rewind a little bit to Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Yeah.
Not so concerned with whether you felt it was right or wrong. You were there.
I was there.
And you were doing your job.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of your experience there.
None of it was good. It was a shithole, and I was 20, spent my 21st birthday over there. I didn't know. All I know is that when I was in basic training, there was and that was in 2002. 9/11 just happened a year prior. We was in school, and it's like, as soon as you guys finish basic training and tech school, you guys gonna deploy, guarantee. And sure enough, 2 years later, we're shipping out. So I was gone for a year and a half.
A year and a half in the Army Infantry. What kind of responsibility did you have up there?
Oh shit! I was only a specialist and a sergeant then, but our responsibility was pretty much QRF.
What is that?
QRF is Quick Reaction Force, where you stay on standby. If there's other units that get hit up there, you go and react and you go help them. You get the wrecker guys, the mechanics to just because they all hit by bombs and shrapnels and stuff like that. So we do rotate that between convoy security and also. We'd also watch the gates and do security over there as well too. So we'd all rotate. So my old unit, the 100 Battalion, we had a lot of companies from headquarters to Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, from like Samoa and Guam and stuff like that. Mainly here, mostly the main guys here in Hawaii at Fort Shafter.
Okay.
So
you saw some things that the average person can only would only see in nightmares or on movies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so, at a young age, Yeah.
So how did that build character, or how did that affect Justin Sabio?
Well, I mean, being in that kind of setting definitely gives you PTSD for sure. I came back angry and just.
I seen the video.
Yeah.
Anyway, so fucking silly, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I need to show that one.
Yeah,
but anyway, so how did that shape you, man?
Definitely. It gave me a real perspective in life about how important family is.
Okay.
That was pretty much the longest I've been away from them.
But when you're propelled into a situation in where you're in a total different culture, and that culture and the indigenous peoples that are there are mostly resentful. I'm sure there's a mix of people that feel like you're helping, and then there's also a mix of people that feel like fuck
for sure.
you for coming into my homeland.
Of course, yeah. And disrupting peace, and then just ruining their way of like their leadership and dictatorship was helping them. But we've worked with the Iraqi up there, you know, and trained them. So I don't know if they were good or some were good or some were bad. You never could tell, you know.
Who's who?
Yeah, who's who, you know.
So you always have to kind of be on guard.
You got to be on guard, yeah, definitely. Because I know when I went home for my 2 weeks R&R, I was on guard. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you hear something loud and you're
that kind of stuff. Home. Yeah, fireworks or back home or I think there's one guy was like I took my family to Disneyland on my R&R. I never come home. I flew everybody up, and I think I seen this one crazy looking stalker guy like following my sister, and I just went crazy. You know what I mean? And I just went from the theater. Took me 3 days to fly home, and then I'm like in Disneyland. You know, like big freaking chain. So I'm like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just watching my family and stuff like that. So to take yourself from that kind of environment to something totally different, you know, it messes with you. You know?
Yeah. So I mean, so that happened.
That
early
happened,
on in your career.
Early in my career. I joined in 2002, March. So that happened maybe in the ending of 2005 when I took my R&R.
Okay.
You get like a 2-week break because the tours were 1 year back then.
2 weeks doesn't seem like enough time for what you experienced.
Yeah.
It came and went those 2 weeks.
I was crying, having to fly back to the theater, but I was smart enough to take it towards the end. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So where does how does your firefighting role play out in terms of when you went to Operation Iraqi Freedom? When did you actually become a firefighter?
Yeah, so like when I came back in 2006, and my contract was up, that was 4 years, right? 2002 to 2006. I was up for a reenlistment, and I didn't want to anymore. You know, I just seen a lot of bad shit. I didn't like that job. But I was going to school at HCC already, you know, using that GI Bill and getting my fire science degree. So I had found out about the firefighting unit in the Air Force Reserve, and I switched over. I went to go see Air Force recruiter, and I was like, "Hey, you guys got openings?" And he's like, "Yeah, just study for your test and start training." And that's what I did. So I didn't take a break in service. I didn't have to go basic training again. I just had to go to the fire academy up in Texas. So that's what I did. That summer, I left to go to the DoD Fire Academy in Texas, and then that was it. But choosing that career stems back way before. I don't know if you knew this, but I wanted to be one chef in high school. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Me and Sean was always taking home ec. You know.
Okay. Wasn't for the chicks.
Not the munchies. No. Yeah, no, I just like cooking. So and I was set on going to CIA in New York on the Hudson River, the Culinary Institute of America. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to do.
I didn't know that.
But then when I got my permit, my grandpa was actually a fire chief, in the Philippines. I didn't know who he was. He passed away before I even was born. So they had that factor. Yeah, I was in the blood. And career day, the Ever Beach Fire Station came, and I swear when they came off that truck, they had swag, and I was like, "Oh, these fuckers look, they're buff, they was big, they shiny boots, and sharp uniform." And I was like, "Wow, they look good. That's like a real life superhero to me." So I was like, "Hey, I want to do that instead." And then they told us what to do. I was like, "Oh yeah, we cook at the station, we work out, we train, we help people." I was like, "Fuck, I'm sold." So then they told me about the this Boys and Girls Club with the HFD. It's called the Fire Explorers. So I did that, and this one legend, I don't know, but he's a legend out at Nanakuli Fire Station. One of my mentors, and who I'm grateful for where I'm at now. His name is Richard Nunes. He's a retired captain with the HFD, City County. He lives down on Waianae, I think so. But I think his last station was out at Engine 28, Nanakuli. I think maybe his daughters probably work with you. Nunes was the last name.
Huh?
Yeah.
Nunes.
Yeah.
Nunes,
yeah.
You know Brian Rooney?
Oh.
Actually, that's HFD.
Yeah.
But he's at Nanakuli right now. But
yeah, he retired, but this guy was top shape, really respected, top shape. He was running, swim the lagoons. He used to take us here. So, and that's what made me want to become a firefighter, Okay. That's where my career started. And then, like I said, I joined the Air Force Reserves as a firefighter, and then the federal guys picked me up, and 19 years later.
So HFD, federal firefighters. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, the difference is jurisdiction, right? Federal, they cover military bases. They protect and serve the people that serve the military. So like most military bases will have a federal fire department.
Okay.
City and county paid by the city, the state. They respond to all the city areas. You know, city and county trucks are yellow. Us guys are red. Here in Hawaii, anyways. But there's also state. The state guys they work at the airports.
State firefighters.
They're state firefighters.
Okay.
I mean, you know, they're under the same union and work the same schedule, but you know they're at the airports only.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the state guys. And
How
then
many airports?
and then there's active duty military, and they're the Marine crash fires out of KB. They just stay. They're just you know active duty Marine firefighters, and they just stay on KB on the airfield. So those are the 4 here.
Oh, the airfield.
Yeah, so they got like you know all those.
They have their own set of issues and challenges, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the main difference. But we do have a mutual aid agreement where we help each other out. We do the same job. If we're busy, they come and help us on our jurisdiction and base. If they're busy, we go and help out and do mutual aid.
Is there a respect between?
Oh yeah,
federal and the city?
for sure. Yeah, I would hope so because we work together. We do the same job. You know, we respond to the same kind of emergencies. So I'm pretty sure there's that mutual respect between. For both.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as a captain, you have a team, right?
Yes. So actually, I'm a station captain. So I'm in charge of a multi-rig station. I have 2 engines. I have 2 fire trucks, a hazmat truck, a brush truck, and also an ambulance.
Hazardous materials?
Yeah, hazardous materials, yeah.
If there's a big chemical spill?
Big chemical spill, gas leaks, whatever, you name it, you know, we're capable of that kind of response, and we're trained up to that.
Wow. And then also your fire engine that has like the water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have one with a tank, and you also have one that has the capability to hook up to
So
fire hydrants.
there are engines, we call them engines.
Fuck it. You know what amazes me though, Just, is when you said that at the career day when the firefighters came and you knew
when I seen them, I was like,
what you were gonna do.
Shit, yeah. And you know.
So career days are real then.
Yeah, so I actually do that. You know, I actually do that. I give back to the community. I've gone to Eva Elementary. I've gone to, Maria Walsh.
Yes.
I've been to like Waianae Elementary. I've done that.
Bro, she asked me to come, and actually, Kenji, you did it.
Yeah, I went too.
I do career days all over the place.
Yeah. So I've done that too, and I do that. It's good to always give back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like for me, like this job. You know, I've done a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of in my life and shit like that. So I feel like saving lives and giving back to the community is just like it balances out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know what's dope too is that your brother's an EMT and you're
my brother's an EMT. He's a charge nurse. My wife's a cardiac nurse. My sister-in-law is also a cardiac nurse. So yeah, we're just in that field. Yeah.
God damn. That's pretty amazing, bro. All right, so on the surface, firefighting and military combat, they seem very different, but are there some similarities between the two?
Yeah, so the best one I can give for this is that both jobs and career fields, the thing you get out of it is PTSD. That's the major
effects.
similarity that comes out of it. Because in the military, you respond, especially when you go to war, you experience traumatic stuff, post-traumatic. And even as a first responder and as a firefighter, we respond to a lot of emergencies. Like yesterday, I had a cardiac arrest, But the major one that I'm kind of proud of, it just happened this past year on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I responded to that explosion on Liamano.
Really?
Yeah. So it kind of reminded when I was there and I took command from my guys. Reminded me of Iraq. It was a shit show, bro. It was a shit show, but we did the best we could to help everybody out. And I was on the phone with their family, FaceTiming them. Hey, they was watching fireworks, blowing stuff like that, and I was like, hey, hey, Happy New Year's. And all that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep now. Got a new battery, lay down, and I just got the tone. Hey, mutual aid, explosion, and it was just like maybe a mile and a half from where I was stationed at that day. And then I pulled up on scene, and
where were you stationed? Radio.
I was actually the acting battalion chief that day.
The battalion chief.
I was the acting. So when they're off, I bump up. I was the acting battalion chief that day.
So you had a lot of responsibility to respond to that.
I had a lot of responsibilities, yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about this situation.
So, like I said, you know, with the similarities with military and firefighting is like with PTSD. You know, it's very traumatic. You know, a lot of people running. There was like explosions still going off, and that's the kind of shit I experienced when I was in the Army. Explosions going off. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of bystanders, and yeah.
And then also bodies.
Yeah.
That were obliterated.
Bodies, hurt people, and you know, we did the best we could. You know, as our job. You know, everybody did. City and County EMS did the best they could. HFD did their job. We did our job. You know, triaging patients and loading them up into the ambulance and stuff like that. You know, yeah. So you know, I told the guys before I released them, I was like, you know, you may not be feeling it now, but you know, wait till your adrenaline kicks down. And I never go to sleep till maybe like 4 o'clock that afternoon on New Year's Day. Yeah. So that's the similarities.
I remember seeing it and then, you know, thinking about my childhood and even some of my adult life.
We all did that. We all growing up in Hawaii, everyone popped fireworks. You know, we all did that. You know, but to actually see that, you know, like, to me, that was like one of the worst, you know, emergencies that I've been to. Yeah.
And it happened here.
And it happened here, yeah, where we grew up. Yeah.
Hey, Just, what was so different about that?
Different meaning how?
Because we all pop fireworks, like you said.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, my family then was watching, you know, people pop fireworks too, and I just wanted them to be safe. But for me to, you know, respond to that and know, like, shit, that could have been anybody at home. That could have been my family. That could have been me. You know,
how many times you can pile up all your fireworks in the garage?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but as you know, it's an unfortunate, you know, situation and you know, tragic accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, you know, when I was there, you know, I just directed my guys to just do the best they could. You know,
does that change your view on fireworks?
Yes and no. You know, it's kind of like, I think maybe people just need to be more careful about this kind of stuff, you know, and just, I mean, it's hard to take away something that you grew up your whole life doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like chicken fighting.
It's like, you know, like
Derby. Jess.
Yeah.
Jess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's different because it's local people. You know what I mean? And that could have been one of us easily.
Yeah.
Easily one of us.
Well, that was somebody's daughter, that was somebody's mom, that was somebody's
was,
brother.
Man,
you know what I mean?
It was, and I've seen all of them. You know what I mean? And I do, and I feel really bad. And my condolences goes out to all their families. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so there was a video I sent you.
Yeah.
Remember that video?
Yeah.
So it was of a valiant man trying to save a burning car at a gas station, and the car was engulfed to the point where I'm thinking, if that was me, unless my kids or there was a person in the car and I knew about it, in that case, I have no, like, there's no stopping me. I have to go and open the door real quick to let him out. But like, this guy was over here trying to put out the fire, see what's going on. How would you handle that situation?
Well, just like what you said, you know, something that we go by in the fire service is, you know, life first and then property conservation. I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. I mean, if it was my own family and kids, of course, without a doubt. But for a bystander to do that with no PPE, personal protective equipment, and risking your life for something like that, I mean, I get it. Heroism is big. You know, you want to do something good, but you got to think about your family. You want to risk all of that and leave your grandkids behind, your wife, your family, just for that. Best thing to do is call 911. And they'll come within, you know, 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 7 minutes, if anything. And they have the PPE, and they're trained in taking care of that. You know what I mean? So I leave it to the professionals, you know, not risk your life. I mean, granted, if it's your own family, like I said, I would, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but what I think that guy should have done is just call 911 and just, you know, stand clear.
Yeah.
You know, you tell everyone to stand clear. You know, make a big 1,000-foot cordon and just wait for the fire department to come up.
I see a lot of cars on fire, like like on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I seen an Escalade the other day.
Yeah.
I was thinking, when it hits the gas tank, doesn't it blow up?
Not
Sometimes it
necessarily.
doesn't, huh?
Some new cars, they're probably equipped with that fuel shut off, just like with planes and stuff like that. But most of it is because of a battery and poor maintenance. Poor maintenance.
Really?
Yeah. Poor
Which
maintenance.
causes fires in
yeah.
cars.
Yeah, poor maintenance, leaking oil, leaking fuel, poor maintenance, you know. And it's just going to just get away, you know. I'm not a mechanic or anything, but, you know, like...
You was on that gear.
I dip and dabble around that, you know what I mean? That's like my hobby stuff. I still get, you know, Volkswagens and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Shit. Well, so, you know, as you know, when people think firemen, they think of, you know, fire hydrants and a little Dalmatian and, you know, putting out fires in homes. But
Yeah.
there's so much more to being a
There is.
firefighter. What else, what kind of situations do you respond to besides fires?
A lot of medical. I would say maybe like 70% of our calls are all medical. We're all trained EMTs, advanced EMTs, and paramedics. You know,
So you've had to resuscitate somebody.
a lot of people. Yeah, like I said
All the
yesterday,
time. Yesterday.
I had one yesterday, a 55-year-old.
AED or
Yeah. We bring the AED out. We got the EKGs and everything.
Chest
we're
compressions?
trained. Yeah, of course. Yeah, chest compressions. Yeah,
you break
break ribs. Yeah, of course.
All the time.
Especially on like older people, geriatrics. You know,
Yeah.
bones are so fragile and weak. So yeah,
Yeah.
you'll break it. Yeah, but I'd rather break them and start still circulate and pump the heart and get some blood circulating.
So chest compressions are essentially you're making the heart beat manually.
Yes. Yeah, and trying to recirculate the blood. You're just doing it manually. Exactly what you. But what we do have on the rigs and ambulances, we have called a auto pulse. Auto pulse is a machine that does it automatically for you.
Is that the AED?
No. AED is a external defibrillator.
Oh, defibrillator.
It's a defibrillator, so it shocks you. It shocks the patient. But there's only like 2 shockable rhythms. That it just the AED will shock you with 2 shockable rhythms. I think it's VTAC, VFib. Yeah.
And so what is the other one?
So the auto pulse is a machine that they'll strap on to the patient and they'll do compressions for them.
Oh.
Yeah. So it just squeezes the chest or it just comes down like I'm pretty sure the Senior County guys has like a thing that just does compressions. It would just secure the body in them and then it just do compressions for them. It frees up one person because during compressions, I've done compressions for over 10 minutes before, and it gets tiring. You gotta have a team, and do switch offs every 2 minutes. Yeah, cycle. So one cycle is 2 minutes.
1 cycle, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's something as a recurring thing. Like when I talk to the lifeguard.
Yeah.
The
for
police
sure.
officer.
Yeah. They're all trained in that.
Everybody
Yeah.
has
So
got
it's
to
like
be
a
trained.
BLS,
You're the
yeah.
first one on the fucking
Exactly.
scene.
Yeah. Hence the first responders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, Just. Hey, honestly, bro, I'm proud of
Yeah.
you. Cause
I just was tripping out. I was just telling. I was just mopping and sweeping the stalls. Maybe last week. 2 shifts ago, and I was like, telling the new rookies like. This is a routine it's a routine job, no matter what station or, where you're at or, what leadership you have, you can do the same thing wherever you're at. You're going to mop and clean the stalls. You're going to wash the truck, and I'm still 19 years later, I'm still doing that, So that's the kind of leader I want to be and, portray and stuff like that.
you take pride in what you do.
Yeah, of course. Because like for me, this is not really work. I mean, I love what I do. So it doesn't bother me too much, Like I'm happy. I have no complaints, I can leave it at home. I can leave it at work, and on my days off, I enjoy my wife, my family, my wife, my 2 boys. Yeah. So it's not work,
Bro, you know what's so dope is that like the 2 industries that you and I are in. I'm in hospitality.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel the same way about my job.
Exactly. So I've seen you from the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to start in any career, the bottom, because when you get to the top, people look at you, hey, this guy, you're well respected because you went up through the ranks, which is really respectful. You put your time in, and every job, every position. So it makes you a better leader because you know what you're talking about. I want to be that kind of captain in chief where like, hey, Saab's been through all the positions, and I have every position, qualified and certified for a lot of things. And, it makes you a better leader because you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing, you know? And just like you, like I keep telling you, it's like, I think that's your passion. I see you in your element as like you're right for the job, you know?
Yeah.
Very, very charismatic. Like, you know, a lot of people, whoever, any, they could come across the road. You know, they talk to you, they have a seat at your table, automatic good time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, that's what you deliver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've seen you going from the bottom when you was in high school, working there part-time, whatever, you know. We would hang out, we'd have to wait for you because you always want to finish late, you know. We have to wait for him.
And Sean's sitting at the table all busted. And finally tired. You know, I sit down with you guys for the
have more barbecue. And he come pull up over there when we barbecue and he start flexing his arm where his one tattoo, his tribal tattoo. First, right here. First was the essential, and then freaking he got all freaking he step up with his prelude, and even more worse, he start flexing his arm. I thought, this fucker.
Ty stayed by himself flexing. Bro, this is the second time it's come up in a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So see, like, how come you just flex, bro?
Every time. I get it. It's a man macho thing. You know what I mean?
I guess
so.
I don't know. Oh, look at you, macho. Hey, I guess this is a good segue into. Let's pull up a bodybuilding picture of Justin right now so that we can show you what this man is capable of. Yeah, he looks swollen. This medium shirt. But let's talk about Stingray and like your journey to bodybuilding heights. Like you won, huh?
Yeah, I've won a few. Yeah, yeah. So I guess just being a fireman, you got to be in shape.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to work out. You know, it's encouraged to stay in shape because you got to be in shape.
Yeah.
You got to breathe through one mask, carrying an air tank, sometimes carrying over 60 pounds of gear, you know? And then you got to go in for you rescue on 200 plus pound person. So it's very physically and taxing, you know? So I still work out every day on shift, unless I'm really sick, but I still show up every day at work, you know, just to set the example. But it's better for me. So with that kind of mentality I had early on and just working out, like I just found that good for stress relief and all the bad shit I've seen. It's good, you know, mentally. And I just, you know, I just enjoyed it. So I just wanted to take it a step up and started, you know, dieting and stuff like that. And, you know, I entered my first one in 2011. And then, so I did the Stingray and Armed Forces, and I both placed second. And then after that, I was like, I think I can go, you know, I can get them next year. So I trained a full year, and then I won first place in the Armed Forces Cup and Stingray, middle class.
Wow.
And then I dibbled and dabbled. I did classic physique, you know. And then I eventually ended up, my last show was 2017. I ended up getting qualified for nationals for the men's physique, the board shorts one. Yeah, so then, I won that one. It was the whole muscle, Yeah, I think it was at the Sheraton back in the day. I also did a Paris Cup too. I did all kinds of stuff over 7 years, you know.
So wait, tell me this, at 41 years old, how hard is it to maintain?
Oh, I don't maintain. I work out to eat and drink, to be honest. I work out to eat whatever I like and drink. Yeah. I don't diet. My kids ain't gonna diet. You know, I eat the same things my kids eat. I
Lunchables.
Lunchables is actually called a charcuterie board. Charcuterie board is a Lunchables for adults. Right? Hey, fruit punch, right? Grape juice, charcuterie board, right? It's Lunchables for adults.
I wish you was my dad, bro.
Well, so it is Lunchables for adults, charcuterie board. It's just a more better one.
Bro, hey, so the reason why we have this wine is because right before this podcast, we interviewed Master Sommelier Roberto Viernes, who is an amazing man. Another amazing Hawaii boy of Filipino descent, just like you, Filipino descent.
Yeah.
What, you had balut before?
No, I haven't. That's one thing I would not try.
You seen the episode I did the balut?
Yeah, I did. I was like, wow, hey, hands off to you. You know, I mean, I'm not ashamed of my heritage or you know, but it's just something not enticing to you. I mean, I tried a lot of stuff, you know. I've been all around the world, you know, and I try stuff, but that doesn't look pleasing to me to even try.
It doesn't look pleasing to me either.
But I probably would just, if I did have to, I'd just take a bite and then
Yeah.
just wash it down with choke alcohol and just
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the answer
Yeah.
to everything, huh?
I guess so.
Wash them down.
Wash them down. yeah.
PTSD, wash them
them
down.
down. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not too much though. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how else do you cope with that though? You know what I mean? Like the nightmares and the thoughts of like what you've seen and experienced.
Yeah. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're honest.
Yeah. And drank a lot of alcohol, you know, especially when I came back. Even my last one, you know, going through a rough time and stuff like that, you know. Had to go see like you know, some mental health. You know, my last one was in Aldolpha Air Base, 2018 to 2019. You know, I had to do a rescue. This one guy, for some reason, on the base, the water was getting backed up everywhere. So this guy's job in the Air Force was to see what's the problem with, you know, all the clogging. I guess like an industrial plumber, I guess.
Yep.
He opened up a manhole to see if there was some kind of clogging in you know, in the piping and the grids underneath. Went down with no mask and PPE. Mind you, we're in a third world country now, right? Went down. He breathed some toxic gas. I think it's probably like HN2S or something like that. Fell down 20 plus feet, died. So our job in the fire, we had to go and rescue him. So
Rescue a dead body.
yeah, and all his belongings, you know. And then we had to get all, you know, we had to set up a tripod, set up a 4-to-1 block and tackle, you know, put on our supplied airline respirators, our hazmat suits, and then, you know, make sure we're all tied up in, and then go down, rescue, you know, take air sampling and all that kind of shit. So yeah, you know, that was my last one. That was my last deployment.
Wow.
But this time, our job was fire department. So we just ran the fire department on base overseas. Yeah.
What damn. Well, tell me this. What is the single most memorable situation or experience that has happened in your 20 years of service, 21 years of service? Good
Yeah.
or bad?
So I think this one would touch everybody in Hawaii. And it was last year is when Lahaina caught on fire. The wildfires in Lahaina, yeah. So me and a whole bunch of my coworkers, we did that. We went there to help with humanitarian aid, and yeah, that was, you know, I guess it's hard because, you know, it's your own people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah.
How did you help?
We'd work our 2 days. We would work our 2 days on, you know, our shift work, and as soon as we got off, fly to Maui.
So you fly to Maui with a bunch of guys from the Federal Fire Department to
Yeah,
help
everybody.
humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
I heard a bunch of HFD did that as well.
Everybody, yeah, HFD,
Paramedics.
fire students, and everything. Yeah. So, for us guys, a good friend of mine and our union president, Apu Kalama Jacobson, well-respected guy, grew up down east side, you know. He coordinated all of that. You know, he has a respectable guy out in Maui, Lahaina. I think his name is Uncle Archie. So we were there, you know, giving out food, aid, medical aid to all the people that lost their homes, fixing their roofs, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, so we did a lot of that. So, you know, work my 2 days on shift. As soon as I get off, go straight to the airport. Sometimes I wouldn't even see my family. So that was going on for a while.
Yeah.
Until all that FEMA guys was all set up, and you know, I'm thankful for the guys in Lahaina that was taking care of us. You know, they housed us at the hotels and B&B, and they would feed us, and you know, just to be there. You know what I mean? We get standing ovations in the aircraft. Fuck. Yeah, we'd fly free, but I mean, it was for, you know, good cause.
Humanitarian cause.
Yeah.
They fucking needed it, and
They needed it.
They still do, bro.
Yeah.
There's still people out there that need a lot of help that have lost their entire lives.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And family members.
Yeah.
Justin, I didn't know that you responded to the New Year's Eve incident. I didn't know that you responded to Lahaina.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, what did you learn from Lahaina?
That never take your family and your life for granted, bro. Anything can happen at any moment's given time. You can lose them just like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen people just die in front of me just like that. You know, with this job. So, yeah, you know, it's just just cherish your loved ones and your family and just enjoy life.
Yeah, you know, I just want to say that I really respect you a lot, man. And this interview,
same here, man.
Thank you. This interview allowed me to know you on a deeper level, bro.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't even talked to you about these experiences.
Yeah, no, we're so busy, you know, raising kids and stuff like that, raising your family. You know, you get your profession, you know, you get your own life. But hey, when you pick up, it's like from before, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's certain friends that you can do that with, and there's certain friends that you can't do that with.
Exactly. And you know, we're one of them, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, let's end on this. I want to talk to you about your two sons and Mel, because I know Mel has been a very strong woman for you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We
just say that.
Yeah, we're very strong.
She's been very strong for you and very supportive for you. And, you know, holding down the fort with your two handsome young men, Jackson and Nixon, who always look smooth. It was fucking curious because they get chains, they get fades, you know what I mean? The little cut, like, sup, uncle?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I try to be a good dad, the best dad I can, and just provide for them, you know. But yeah, so I've been with Mel for over 20 years, you know.
Yeah.
Met in college, and married,
Ups and downs.
It's a part
of
she is
any
my
relationship.
Yeah, she is my backbone because you know she held down the fort when I was gone. I was deployed. Like, you know, we're being a fireman. You're home half the year. Yeah, literally, right? I'm gone 2 days. I'm home 2 days. So, and you know, and she's also like I mentioned before. You know, she's also in the healthcare field too, you know. They all did a lot during COVID time and stuff like that. So she's a cardiac nurse, and she's going to school for her nurse practitioner. So she's still doing it, you know.
God,
at 40, and she's still doing it, still grinding. And the boys are heavy into basketball and football, and you know, flag and pylon, and we travel for that. Yeah.
So you're
they like
very
fishing
busy.
Now. Very busy.
Fishing, huh?
Yeah. They like
Kenji.
fishing. Yeah.
That's cool.
I know. My oldest son is the lucky one. He always catch.
Oh, shit. That's Nixon, huh?
Yeah, Nixon. But you know, I hated the beginning.
You name him after the watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And after the watch. Well, I don't have mine on now, but yeah, it was after the watch.
I'm gonna name my kid Rolex.
Oh.
Nah.
Prezi.
No. I can't afford that. I get Nixon. Movement.
Yeah. I had the Nixon player watch.
I know. Yeah. I was always looking at watch Justin. I'm like, Justin, he's always gotta be smooth because this fucker is just smooth. Everything right.
Yeah.
Hey, what, Just, I can ask one question.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
So, local boy, right?
Yeah.
Is your first time out of Hawaii your first deployment?
No. Okay. I was fortunate enough for my parents. You know, they're hard workers. I think that's where I get my work ethic from. But yeah, they took us on trips. Okay. But yeah, that wasn't my first time leaving Hawaii.
But
country? Out of country?
Oh, out of country. Yeah.
So your first international was Iraq.
First international was Iraq. We actually flew into Kuwait, and we had to fucking up-arm our own fucking vehicles and trucks and shit like that. That's real. It was the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
So we only had like sandbags on the freaking floor of the Humvees and makeshift freaking old ass like rusty metal, and they'd weld them to the doors, and that's all we had, you know. And we had to convoy 3 days from Kuwait all the way to Balad in Iraq. Yeah. So.
And what, had some precarious situations on the way there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know. But that was a long ass convoy. You know, we had to rotate and keep eyes on, and after nighttime drive with NVGs and stuff like that. But,
night vision goggles.
Night vision goggles. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a long
one.
Man.
Humans are fucking nuts, bro.
I think. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if my kids wanted to join on the service, I'd probably send them in the Air Force. Yeah.
Is the Air Force the safest?
I think they have dangerous jobs. You know, like paratroopers and stuff like that, and fire and pilots and stuff like that. But I think they have the best quality of life. They got the money, they got nice houses, you know, nicer bases. As I think on aircraft costs in the multi-millions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What the Raptors?
Yeah, the Raptors.
Those
the
jets
Raptors
are amazing,
it's bad,
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
War. I don't know. I've always been intrigued with like battleships and like the different types of carriers and you know, all the different nations have, you know, Russia and China. Everybody has their own fleets.
Everyone's getting crazy with their weaponized and aircrafts and ships.
World War III.
No, but Josh,
when is that?
Sorry.
Yeah.
The real question I wanted to ask was, given, you know, hindsight is 2020, we over here 40 somethings. Right, reconnection. You and my brother. You guys 02 Campbell.
Yeah.
Me 03. But you know, same. Would you do it again?
I would. Yeah, I would. It definitely shaped me to be the person I am today. You know, if it wasn't for, you know, doing kind of mischiefs and, you know, my uncle and my parents just, you know, guiding me to get that discipline and buckle down and figure what I'm going to do in life, I probably wouldn't be here, you know? So, yeah. And going back to your last question, that was my first time leaving the country. I was going to Kuwait first. But I've been all over the world, you know. The military's taking me to, like, you know, Japan, Philippines, London.
What was your favorite place?
I'll probably say... Probably Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Dubai was cool.
Luxury.
Yeah. I felt like I'm peasant over there. Everybody's rich over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lambos everywhere.
Yes, Lambos. And I was driving a Hilux. On Nissan, on Toyota Hilux. And, you know, black Lambo is all painted in sand.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, they got high-tech features over there, you know what I mean? And it's just like everyone's over there now. There's different nationalities. But yeah, I've been all over the world, so I'm grateful for that.
You heard about the line, Saudi Arabia?
No.
Kenji.
Yeah.
The line. It's like what is it? Like how many kilometers is it? It's a
big city that's
huge linear city that's multiple, stories high.
Yeah.
State of the art, self-sustainable, best technology in the world. And they're looking to have like hundreds of thousands of people living in it.
Yeah,
right?
it's like imagine the Great Wall of China meets the Burj Khalifa.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I've been up there.
Oh,
yeah, I've been up there. The world's tallest building. Yeah. It's a fucking forever. The freaking.
How many floors is that?
I forget, but I went up there.
I just came back from LA and I had a really good experience. I was in downtown and I went to the 73rd floor of a building, and that was the highest I've ever been in a building, and it was fucking high, bro.
It is. You know, as now that you high and afraid of heights, the older I got, I'm a fucking afraid of heights now. Before, you know, when I was a younger firefighter, I'd climb the ladder up and rappel off buildings, no problem. You know, I'd even, you know, flip upside down and pick up somebody. You know, now I'm like, holy crap. If it's only 3 stories, so I'm like... Pff.
Well, you are like, what, 240 pounds?
Man.
230.
Don't remind me. 230.
220?
Shit, not even.
I mean, it looks like muscle, dog.
210.
210?
Yes.
I
gotta get down to
1.
What? I need to get like you. It's probably all in my freaking stomach. That's why I get the dad bod. You get dad bod.
Fucking
damn.
Fucking just. So, I mean, you know, we've covered a lot today.
Yeah, it was good. All good stuff.
All super
You even
good
see me
stuff.
cry.
Fuck up.
Everybody gonna see that shit. That's crazy.
Fuck yeah, this is number 2, bro. That's a goal of mine. To either
you know
get
what?
the chicken skin or to full cry.
I normally get both when talk about like sensitive, you know, issues like that. So yeah.
But you know, it's important, and you know, there's other people out there that are going to be watching this that have been in similar fields.
Yeah, of course.
That will look to you as almost as an inspiration or as a strength, right? Because you've been through it, you're going through it. Alcohol, yes, it does help, but don't, you know what I mean?
You know,
that's not the only.
That's not the only. But you know, it's family time. Go fish. You know, go fish or, you know, find a hobby like, you know, work on cars or, do something.
Give into your passions.
Yeah.
If you
for
like
sure.
rapping, or
Yeah,
if you
like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dry tick.
Holy
Yeah, I remember.
I still get to see you.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I was listening to that shit the other day.
Ain't nobody play CDs anymore though.
My daughter plays
Oh, yeah?
cassettes.
Oh.
I went to Amoeba Music in LA, Hollywood, and I got her some like Madonna and
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac and
Well, that's
stuff.
cool. I love Fleetwood
Willie
Mac.
Nelson, and she that was the best reaction I've ever seen of any gift I've given to her was the fucking cassettes, because she actually has a cassette player.
Good.
And she just loves cassettes.
You gotta get them.
Sounds different.
Yeah, the Sony one, the yellow one, the shockproof. You know,
30
with the
seconds
foam.
skip. No, that's the
Yeah,
CD.
or the
That's
CD.
Walkman,
Yeah.
the
What
Walkman.
else? Yeah. Oh yeah,
Discman.
Dang.
Oh fuck, we showing our age, bro. But you
Dang.
know what? I'm happy to be 41, and I feel like life is just beginning.
Yeah, it's our second half. Our
Yeah.
second half. You know.
One thing I was gonna ask you, we'll end on this. If World War III happens tomorrow, where is Justin Sabio? What is he doing?
I am with my loved ones. I am with my loved ones, bro. You know, spending every last minute and second and just remembering all the experience and memories we had. That's where I'm at, man. Unless I get called to go save somebody's life and stuff like that, then I'll be doing that with FaceTime. So
I thought you was gonna say I'd be right there on the front line, so that's
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. To
well, for
hear
me, family always first.
Yeah.
Family first, you know.
Nixon, Jackson, Mel,
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
them. I'm sure they love you.
Yeah.
Continue to go through ups and downs with them, and stay strong through the PTSD that I know you still experience.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it comes with the job, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, much respect to all the first responders out there, like I said earlier, cops, EMS, fire, you know, lifeguards,
Yeah.
you know, rescue swimmers, all that, you know. They especially if they're local.
Yes,
You know, and
yes.
they're one of our own, and they taking care of us guys in bad situations. So, yeah, you know, much props to them. And thank you, Kenji and Ty, for highlighting those guys. You know, it's really good what you guys are doing. You gotta. I think you should bring it. Do you have a cop that's coming?
I had a corporal from the
Nice.
He actually, shout out to Roland Pagan. He just won Corporal of the Year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A lot of our classmates came cops. Preston Lee.
Anson.
Yeah.
I was like, Anson.
Yeah.
Where's this fucker?
Oh
see this
shit!
fucker, 'cause,
Yeah,
Who else? Fucking Micah Nakagawa.
yeah. Pacheco, Preston Pacheco.
Oh, yeah, Preston.
The Pacheco boys.
Yeah, and his brother Wes. Antone. I think. Just like that, huh?
Yeah.
Shit. Well, we all have our own roles. We all have our own missions. We all have our own purpose. The point of this podcast is to inspire you to lean into yours. So, Justin Sabio, thank you very much. This was a
brother.
fucking amazing
Yes.
talk. I love you.
Love you, my man.
Fuck up. You're too funny. He's like,
Hey, look,
Too funny.
you was sexy too. You was